Hi there. Welcome to the latest edition of the Big Story Gazette. I've been for the last few days considering what to talk about. Big Me gave me a bunch of ideas and I've tossed them around in my head, but I hadn't really formulated any coherent uh, format, in my head. Like I said, I don't write anything down. I don't take notes. I don't have an outline. I just say what comes to me when I'm given the idea what to say. So I'm going to start with a couple things and then I do know what I'm going to say. So I'll start with a couple things and then I'll go into it. Universal Principle 22, UP 22. The entire universe rearranges itself to accommodate your picture of reality. I'll say that again. The entire universe rearranges itself to accommodate your picture of reality. These are things that I've learned from Hilarious from the very beginning. Follow spirit without hesitation. That's really hard to do. Follow spirit without hesitation. I'll tie these in to my talk. You'll see how it comes in. Anyway, I was watching a program. There's a program on TV. The new quote season has started, and there's a program that's in its second season, and I watched it last season from the very beginning, and I was interested, intrigued, and entertained. It's called God Friended Me. It's on the CBS network, and I like it. So I've been following it since its season premiere a couple weeks ago. So I think they've had 2 episodes now in this new season. The basic premise, if you're not familiar with it, is this guy, this black guy in New York. Obviously he's on Facebook because the title of the show says God Friended Me, and he has a podcast, and he's an atheist, and it goes through all of his adventures and stuff. Basically, I was watching it last night, and all of a sudden I saw it crystal clear. The entire universe rearranges itself to accommodate your picture of reality and follow spirit without hesitation. And if you follow this, if you have followed or would like to follow this program, it's all about those two things. What you call real, you get more of. The universe will rearrange itself to give you more of that so that you don't go crazy. Even though it may look weird and and challenge your structures, your filters of the way you think it is or the way that it is for you, the universe doesn't want you to go crazy. So whatever it is you focus on and call real, you get more of. So everything is copacetic. Well, in this story, this guy was an atheist, and this character calling himself God friended him on Facebook, and then starts giving him all these pieces, and he's following these pieces. And his best friend, it's a very culturally diverse, very PC program. The main character is black. His best friend is Indian, Indian American, not American Indian, but Indian American. You know what I'm saying? He's from India, or his family's from India. He's the first person that he's friended, and or what the main character, the next main character after the two of them is this white girl, and he and the main character Miles is friends her, and then they fall in love, and she's part of this little team. And now at the end of last season, uh, just short of them telling each other, that they love each other and yada yada, she gets an assignment to go to Paris. She's a journalist. She gets assignment to go to Paris. So now she's in Paris, and then there's that little storyline and the whole thing. So this season they bring in a new character, and it's an Asian woman. So like I said, it's very PC and very culturally diverse, but that's understandable. It is Hollywood, and so you just take it for what it's worth. And like I've had people tell me, well, why do you watch television? Why do you watch movies? I love movies. I love Hollywood because I know exactly what it is. I know that the television is trying to brainwash me. They're trying to program me, which is why they call it programming, you know, television programming, because it's meant to subliminally program us. But I'm above that. You can't fool me if I know what the game is. If I know the rules of the game, then I'm not susceptible to the tricks of the game because I know the rules. I know how it's played. So, like with movies, with Hollywood, I watch mainly science fiction movies, and there aren't a whole bunch of good ones, but I watch pretty much any science fiction movie that comes out of, Blockbuster. I love superhero movies because I grew up on comic books. I grew up on Marvel comic books. My brothers and I, my younger brother is an artist, and he learned how to draw by laying on the floor as a little kid, drawing out of Marvel comic books. And he's really good now as an artist. Uh, and my brothers and I, we're just ecstatic with Marvel because what we read through our childhood and teenage years, we now see on the big screen. We're reliving our childhood. We're having a ball. You know, I know all the story characters. Matter of fact, there's one character I wish that Hollywood would do more with because in the comic books, he was my favorite character, my absolute favorite character. You got X-Men, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, the Avengers, Captain America, now Iron Man, all of them. My absolute favorite character was the Silver Surfer. And they've only done one movie, Fantastic Four movie, with the Silver Surfer. But when he came out in comic books, he made such a splash, such a hit. And he came out initially in a Fantastic Four comic book. Was the first time that character was introduced in the Fantastic Four comic books. He made such a splash. There was such a demand for him. They gave him his own comic book series, The Silver Surfer. I would love to see Hollywood with its CGI and technology and the whole nine yards. I would love to see them do some Silver Surfers based on that character. Because it was the absolutely coolest thing to fly around the universe on a surfboard. When I was growing up, that was it. To fly around the universe on a surfboard. Yeah, it don't get better than that. But anyway, I'm digressing. So I got Hollywood. Hollywood has no effect on me. When I was a truck driver, I remember making a comment once. We were sitting in a truck in a TV, in the movie lounge of a truck stop. All the major truck stops, they have TV rooms and movie lounges and shit like that, where you can, go up and you can have movies. They have a library of movies, and you pick one. Well, we were watching this one movie, bunch of drivers, and I made a comment about, man, I love Hollywood. It's the only place you can do that. And what I was referring to is shooting a pistol with a magazine in it, a semi-automatic pistol, and never reload. You can sit there and count 30 shots out of a nine capacity magazine. But only in Hollywood you can do that. And when I made that comment, I just in the dark, we're watching this movie, and this guy is yeah, blah, blah, he's just shooting away, da 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 da, and he never once reloaded. And I noticed it. I don't know if anybody else did, but I noticed this guy hasn't reloaded, and I know he shot more than 9 shots. And I just commented out loud. I said, "Man, I love Hollywood. It's the only place you can just shoot infinite amount of bullets and never reload." And everybody in the room got it. We started busting up and carrying on and the whole 9 yards. So anyway, I love Hollywood because Hollywood is fantasy. It's not real. I don't I don't worry about being programmed by Hollywood because I know it's meant to program me. I know it's not real. I don't watch all the heart wrenching, tear jerking dramas because you live that every day. You go into a movie theater, and when you come out, you're still back in your everyday life. So it's like when I go into a movie theater or put on a DVD, I watch it to quote escape. Escape. Let me go somewhere else besides here for just a short period of time. Because when the movie's over, I'm still here with all my issues and all my structures and the whole 9 yards. So it's like I don't get programmed. I know what it is, and it just I see right through it. The veils have been removed from my consciousness. I see right through it. So all of that being said, I can watch this movie. There's this one TV show, God Friended Me, and I enjoy it. It's cute. But yesterday I was watching it and a veil was removed. And I went, no shit. I saw it plain as day. Synchronicities. If you and the struggle, you watch the characters. If you the movie, the premise of the movie is all of these little random things happen and they're being led over here to do this or speak to that or just all of these zillions of coincidences to where at a certain point it becomes like Q says, at a certain point it becomes mathematically improbable that these are just coincidences. Well, that's where you get to if you can watch this movie with open eyes. As the Bible says, those that have eyes to see and ears to hear. Well, I have the eyes to see. And at a certain point, I'm thinking, when are these guys going to get it? That this is not just coincidences. There's like last night's episode, it was bizarre. It was not bizarre. It was extremely interesting. The synchronicities were working from New York to Paris. Miles was being led to a certain place through a whole bunch of different coincidences, which we know as synchronicities, or which is I know as synchronicities. And there he is. He's standing. He's on the ferry looking at the Statue of Liberty. And then Kara, his girlfriend, is in Paris. And she's being led by a bunch of synchronicities, which they all recognized was part of the God program, the God Friended Me program. So they made that connection and say they go, okay, the God character, whoever this is, because they still don't know who it is. It's this person calling himself God, but whoever. He says, or leads her through a bunch of different coincidences, her and these two people that she's with, and they're going, and every time, I mean, like bam, 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 they'd be right there doing something, and then the next thing they turn around and go, it's like your mouth drops open. Really? So it's like, and then they find out that some of it, the influence from this quote character called God, was 5 years earlier. So now they have a new puzzle. They thought that the God character just started with Miles, but now they're getting more information from 5 years earlier. So now they've got this big conundrum. How long has this been going on? You know? So anyway, the story ends with Miles is on the ferry in New York looking at the Statue of Liberty on Ellis Island. Or now they call it Liberty Island, but that's a whole different thing called what is it called? Oh, I'm drawing a blank here, but anyway. Mandela effect. Yeah, that's a whole different thing. One day I might get into that. I still haven't worked out the Mandela effect. That's a big puzzle to me. But anyway, I have some thoughts on that. But anyway, he's standing there on the ferry looking at the Statue of Liberty, and he's on the phone talking to Kara in Paris, and he's talking about that, a message that he had got from the God character about follow the lady, find your path, was the message. Follow the lady, find your path. And all the quote coincidences led him to that, to the Statue of Liberty. Well, simultaneously, she's following the message that she got, and they determined it was from the God character. And she's standing on this river. As soon as Miles tells her where he is, she just looks up and she's looking at the Statue of Liberty in Paris. Because there is a Statue of Liberty in Paris. The Statue of Liberty that's in the United States in New York Harbor was a gift from the French. And it was a copy of the original one in Paris. So coincidentally, synchronistically, the show ends, they're both looking at the Statue of Liberty. However many thousands of miles it is from New York to Paris, they're simultaneously looking at the same thing. Now, synchronicities, it's like, I just love this show because what it shows is, and I've had thoughts and revelations, and, revelations meaning revealings from spirit, veils being taken off and revealing shit. That's what I call revelations. I've had revelations from spirit about synchronicities, and the basic one is when you see synchronicities, it's basically you're on the right path. You're exactly where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there, doing whatever it is you're doing in that now moment. They're little tweaks from spirit, little, see, I told you so, little nudges from spirit, like, yeah, keep it up, keep it up. So, and then the entire universe rearranges itself to accommodate your picture of reality. Basically, the more you make a big deal about synchronicities, the more you get synchronicities. Because the universe will, when you start calling synchronicities real and not blowing them off as haphazard coincidence, then you get more of those synchronicities. When you start focusing on them, the co-creative power of your consciousness, when you start focusing on them, the universe will co-create with you and give you more of that. Isn't it cool? It just totally blows me away. It wasn't the end. I'm just waiting for the next piece. Just bear with me. Because follow spirit. Follow spirit without hesitation. As I said earlier, that's extremely hard to do. And as I said earlier, your mental body, who we've all for years and years and years, and you probably still now are identifying as your mental body, but you're not your mental body, and the big you knows you're not your mental body. Your mental body will fight tooth and nail until it gets enough evidence. Sooner or later, these characters in this story, the God Friended Me program, sooner or later, they're going to get enough evidence to where their mental bodies are going to quit fighting and allow them to follow spirit without hesitation. Because they'll want a next little clue will come up, quote synchronicity, or quote clue, which is actually a synchronicity, will come up, and they'll go, nah, that can't be right. Again, their mental body call them bullshit because that doesn't fit into the parameters of their filters. But there it is right in front of them, and they gotta deal with it. Part of them wants to follow because they're intrigued as hell. They're enjoying it. They're having fun because when the first episode of this season, when that Asian woman came in, her name is Joy. When she came on the scene, Miles was despondent for a while because he thought, "Oh, she's my replacement. God don't have nothing to do with it. Basically kicked me to the curb, and now it's her turn." Well, it turns out he was ecstatic when he got a new message from the God account. That's what they call it, the God account. But their mental bodies fight. Even though their spiritual bodies, the real them, they're having a ball following spirit without hesitation. They're hesitating because they're fighting with their mental body, but they're having a ball and they're ecstatic to follow spirit. And like I said, in the show, because it's Hollywood and it is the 3D matrix structure we're in, they can't call it follow spirit, so they got to call it God. So it's the God account. Whatever it is, it's still structurally the same thing. Trust your data and follow spirit without hesitation. That's why I say trust your data, because sooner or later, you, the spiritual body, I admonish you to trust your data. And I admonish you to the best of your ability to follow spirit without hesitation. And I guarantee that the universe will rearrange itself to accommodate your picture of reality. And if you utilize the tool, the rescinding of vows, hopefully you're doing that, as directed by spirit. Don't make it a structure that you have to do, because basically you're defeating it. You're setting up a whole new confinement for yourself, but just follow spirit. Spirit, your big you will tell you exactly what to do, when to do it. And sooner or later you get to the place where it's okay to follow spirit. Your mental body will have enough evidence, and in this show, I'm watching them after a year, one season, however many episodes plus two in this new season. I'm watching the characters and they're starting to get okay with not knowing. See, because the mental body's primary urge is to predict and control. And following this God account blindly, yes, blindly, following this God account one step at a time blindly is not what the mental body, its primary urge to do, is to predict and control. It's basically, you have to trust spirit. You have to trust God. You have to trust the big you. And as you do more of that and call that activity real, the universe will rearrange itself to give you more of it. When I talk about synchronicities, I know, if you're watching this video, then you've somewhat been around the New Age movement or whatever, but you've heard, a lot of people are like into numbers now, triple digits, quadruple digits, mainly triple digits is where the 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 level of it is right now in the race mind consciousness. Well, this happened with Georgianne and I, like when we were waking up back in the early 90s, mid 90s. This would be in the mid 90s now because I know the truck that we were in. We had bought our first truck as opposed to being company drivers, but we were in our first truck, and that place where the theta state where you're not quite asleep, but you're not awake? Well, you're in that same state when you're waking up. You're not quite awake, but you're not fully asleep. You're coming back into the body. You're still connected to the higher dimensions. And I woke up one morning just a few minutes before Georgianne did. So I was laying there in the bunk. She's laying there beside me. And then she just starts talking like a person talking in their sleep. But this is very clear. I can hear her very clearly. She's not stuttering. She's not mumbling. And this is what she said. And I quote, "We're surrounded by these frequencies: 11, 22, 33, 44, 55, 66, 77, 88, 99." End quote. I'm going like, what? We're surrounded by these frequencies, 11 and all the multiples of 11. She just enunciated them. She verbally put them out. She was channeling data from the higher dimensions, from her big self. And it was we, plural, me and her, as far as that's how I interpret right then. But hell, that could mean the entire planet. That could mean to be everybody. But the quote was, we are surrounded by these frequencies. And it was 11 and all the multiples of 11. And then shortly after that, we started seeing them everywhere. We started seeing double digits. And then shortly after that, we started seeing triple digits. We'd be driving down the road and we'd see a license. It would be driving down the road in the big truck, and a car would pass us, and the license plate would be triple digits. We weren't, and if you look for them, they won't be there. But if you're just driving down the road and you happen to look down at a car passing you, there's a triple digit. Or you're driving down the road and you happen to look up, and on a billboard there's a phone number. There's a triple digit. We started seeing them everywhere. Not only the double digits, but then it very shortly progressed into triple digits, and then we started seeing quadruple digits, and then we were seeing all different codings. What we decided to do, we had interpreted them from our higher self as these were different codings, and we just followed them. Yeah, I'm waiting on some information to be given back to me. But when I get it, hopefully in the next 2 or 3 days, I'm going to read something from one of our newsletters back in the day, and it illustrated how we traveled around the countryside utilizing synchronicities. It's really, really interesting. But I want to just, Georgianne wrote it out. She just channeled it from spirit, and she wrote it out, and it's in one of the newsletters, and it's pretty cool. So when I get the newsletters back from a friend that I've given them to, and he said he'll have them back to me in a couple of days, because they were my last copies of the newsletters. But I was led to give them to him then. I would normally always have a good, clean original set, and then I would make a set of copies of all of them. So whenever I was directed to share them with somebody, I would just go, here, this is for you. I've been led to give these to you, and I would still have that backup. Well, this one particular friend of mine, this person I met, who's now a dear friend, hell, he's my adopted son. I was just led right then, give him these. He'll get them back to you, but give these to him now. And I talked to him about a week ago. He said he'll have them back to me, in a week or so. Actually, hopefully in the next 2 or 3 days. But anyway, synchronicities. That's what this one's about. And that's how you do with the synchronicities. They're there so that you can more fully follow spirit. They're tools. They're not tools, they're indications from your big self that you are following spirit, that you are on the right path. They're little markers along the road. When you see a triple digit, revel in it. Make a big deal about it. Because UP22 works all the time. The more you make a big deal about something, the more you get of that. Whatever you focus on, whether it be positive or negative, the universe will rearrange itself to accommodate whatever it is you're focusing on, whatever it is you're calling real, whatever it is you're making a big deal about. So make a big deal about synchronicities. Make a big deal about being kind, being loving, that the universe loves you and supports you. Make a big deal about that, and you get more of it. I'm going to leave it there. I love you. Blessings on your journey. And I will see you in the next episode of Big Story Gazette. Bye-bye.